Hello everyone, this is James from 3D Printing Reviews, and today's video, which is part 3 of the NFire1 Upgrade series, we're going to be having a look at the power supply cover. So this is going to be a 3D printed part, and I found the ideal part on Thingiverse. So if we just head over to, well, we're actually already on Thingiverse, and you can see this was made by a company called, or an individual called 3D Modular Systems. And I believe he actually has a printer kit that you can buy, or an assembled kit, and this is the model he made for his printer specifically. So if we just actually head over to the comments section, you can see here that I posted a message to him asking if it was okay to modify it for our project, which he said, yeah, that's fine to do. So if we head back over to the files, and then what we're actually going to do is we're going to modify it a little bit in the original software that he used to make it. So if we download this one here, which I've already done, and this is a file that goes into a program called Design Spark. And I believe if we just head over to here and go here, we can see that this was actually made by, I think it was RS Components or similar. Yeah, so I'll put a link in the description to this piece of software. But what this basically allows us to do, so this is that file that I just downloaded, and what I'm actually going to do is take off most of the logos and the holes and everything here, and we're going to be able to do a little bit of editing in Tinkercad to add in the holes and the logos that we want. So if we start by just getting rid of the logo here, the way I found to do it is if we, so what we can do here, if we press the fill command here, and if we select one face like that, and then hold Control, and just go around and select some more faces like that. So let me just do these ones quickly. There may be a quicker way of doing this, but I've only had this software for a week, so I'm not entirely sure the best way to do things. This is just the way I found that works. So as you can see, I've selected all the internal faces of that logo. If I then press the tick button, it then fills it up completely and removes it from the model, which is exactly what we wanted to do. So what I'll do is I'll just do that for the rest of the things that we need to do. Actually, if I just show you here, actually, if we select a different command and we select the pull command, and if I select this face, and then this one is an up to button, I then click this one here, and then what it's done is, it's because this is not a hole, it's just an indent, it's basically pulled it up to the surface and again done what we want to do and got rid of it. So I shall do that for the rest of the holes and be back with you. Okay, and here we are back again. So as you can see, I've got rid of all of the logos from the side and from the front, the holes for the cables, the little hole that he had for his display, and there was also two cutouts here that just needed to be removed. What I'm also actually going to do quickly is remove or fill these two circular holes here. Just tick that. Cool. So what I've done there, I will now save this model. So if we go up to export options, STL file, we can then output this as an STL file, so we'll click save. Excuse me. And then what we'll do, we'll head over to Tinkercad and add back in the holes and the cutouts that we need for our project. So this was just a quick demo of Design Spark. I'll put a link in the description for you to go and download this yourselves. Have a play around with it. It's a good little piece of software. I'm gonna start using it a little bit more to see if I can learn how to use it, and then hopefully we'll be able to create some cool models in it for later videos. So join me back over in Tinkercad in a second. Okay, welcome back into Tinkercad, and as you can see, I've got various models in here, including the extrude.limited logo that I showed in the last video, because they are, if you didn't watch the last video, they are now my filament sponsor for the channel, so thank you very much to them. If we head over into this and just tinker this, this is the NFire1 power supply cover worksheet that I've been working in. So if we just first of all concentrate on this one here, so this is basically the model that you just saw me edit, but I've now included holes to mount the power input, a hole to mount my display, and then if we turn this around and zoom in, you can see that I have added the NFire Labs logo into our power supply cover. I will do a tutorial on that at some point, but basically all I've done is I got Alex over at NFire Labs to send me their logo in a high resolution. I've then converted that picture file into an SVG, and then using various couple of bits of software, I've basically took that SVG file and gave it some depth and created an STL file. And then all I've done is to recess it into our power supply cover just to create that indent, and then when it prints, so when it then prints out, it's actually upside down like this, and prints it on the bottom like that. So if I just flip that back over, if I ungroup this like you saw me do in previous videos, you can see here the holes that I've actually added in. So these two circular holes here are the two mounting holes for the power inlet, and then this box here is the dimensions of our volt amp meter that we're adding into the display. So that was just basically a case of taking the measurements provided, creating a big hole object basically, and then putting it where I wanted, and then cutting it through to the bottom like that. So yeah, that's basically all we did here. That was a really easy, quick job to do. So whoops, if we just select those again, excuse me, select those, just deselect that one, group, excellent, and then we'll make that orange because that's the colour it's going to be printed. So what I'll do is I'll just show you these other models that are in here. Again, this model here was originally made by 3D Modular Systems, available on their Thingiverse page, and this goes on the power supply again on the bottom and attaches to the extrusions of the printer. So I'll show you that in a second because these are all printed out and ready to show. And this part I've made from a number of different objects I found on Thingiverse, and the links will be in the description for those. And basically what this allows me to do is attach it in these two holes here while it's on the power supply. Then this then clips into our 20 by 20 aluminium extrusions. So this will basically hold this power supply upright onto the side of the printer. So yeah, that was just a quick video to show you what I've done and what it looks like now. So what I'll do is I'll reposition the camera, or get the camera. I unfortunately don't have a time lapse of this print because the camera on the Raspberry Pi decided it wanted to stop working halfway through the print. So I'm going to be working on different solutions to taking time-lapse videos. But I've printed all these, so I'll cut this video here and then we'll go and have a look, and actually have a look at the finished prints. So I shall see you in a second. Okay, so here we are. Here are the printed parts for our power supply cover. And as you can see, I've just fitted in the power inlet and the display that I was talking about earlier. And I'll just show you actually how easy these do go in. I can just pull it out just like that. So they fit perfectly into our printed model. Just pushes it in like that, and the holes line up exactly where I wanted them. So yeah, so that's the actual cover itself, and then we'll have obviously the wiring in there. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, so I might take a close-up video or a close-up photo. If I just switch this camera over to manual focus, let's see if I can. That's probably as close as I'm going to get it. But yeah, you can see the NFire Labs logo there. So it's quite cool. So if we come back over here, switch it back over to autofocus. Just wait one. Oh, for some reason it took a photo, but anyway. So yeah, that's focused in. And then here, this is the bracket for the bottom of the power supply. Came out really nice. You know, extrude.limited orange PLA. So yeah, that came out nice. And then here's the little bracket I made that I modelled from a couple of other different models. So let's have a look how they fit on the actual power supply. So I won't actually fit these because I'll have to get the screws out and everything, but basically, so this is the part of the power supply where we screw in our mains in power, and then we've obviously got our 12 volt plus and minus power here. Excuse me. So this basically just fits over the front here like this, and that's about as far as on as this goes, as you can see. This then goes on here like this. No, sorry, it goes on like that. So I'm still debating on how I'm going to mount this on the printer. I could just leave it like that, and so it stands up next to the printer. Obviously you'll have your power in, and then there isn't a hole at the moment for the wires to come back out, because I haven't decided where they're going to be. But then if we had it just freestanding, if we had it next to the printer, say, we've then got to have the wires come out. So I'm not entirely sure if we're going to do that, or if I basically attach this other part that I printed here like that, so that will attach to the printer like that. And then what we can do is actually, if I just reposition the camera, we can see what that will look like. There we go, so we should be able to see now. So this part will be attached like this. If I just hold it in place. So basically what it will do is that this will attach into the rail. This will then screw in here with some T-nuts, and then it will be suspended like that. So the power out will be a lot closer to where the control board's going to be, because that's mounted at the top of the printer. And for the power out, what we'll do is we'll just take the cable out of there and then just put a cable clip on the side here and run it down. So I think that's probably the way I'm going to go. I haven't fully decided yet, as I've said. It looks quite nice just sitting there. But yeah, so that's something that's got to be decided as yet. But while we're here, I'll also show you the so we can zoom in. No, it's completely zoomed out. Okay, let's do some manual focus then. There we go. So these are the bed leveling adjustment knobs that we're going to use. It's not quite light enough for the camera to pick up on, so let's just crank up the ISO a bit, or the aperture, sorry. There we go. So you can see what they look like basically. So they're basically just like is it knurled knobs basically. So they will attach to the printer like that. That's where the let me just adjust this camera again. There we go. There we go. Right. So the bed is going to sit here, and then these would go on the bottom here. And they're what we use to try focusing in a bit better. There we go. So yeah, they're the leveling knobs. 3 of those obviously, printed in orange PLA from Extrude Limited. So yeah, so that is basically today's video. A bit of rambling at the end because trying to struggle with technology. But in the next video we're going to have a look at doing the electrical connections inside the power supply, so connecting the power inlet. If we just, there we go. So that will be the connections going into the power supply here, which come out of this power inlet in here. We'll also connect up our volt amp meter, which will go to these power rails here, and we may even also have a look at the start of the modifications of the ramps board. So for me that will basically be removing these 2 polyfuses, which will then bridge those connections, and then we'll have a look and talk about how we're going to run the inline fuses and the rest of the power. So yeah, so that will be in the next episode. Look forward to speaking to you then. Thanks for watching. This is James from 3D Printing Reviews.